Hello, I'm Goobums, and today I'm going to be showing you the top 5 best legends to climb with at the start of Set 9. I'm a competitive player and streamer from NA, and I've been competing since Set 4. I made World Finals in Set 6, finishing at 5th place, and I've gone rank 1 pretty much every set I've played. So one of the most common questions I get asked about is about the new set mechanic, legends. What are the best legends to climb with, etc, which legends should I use? So for the most part, your choice of legend is really dependent on your playstyle. But having played hundreds of games on PvE, I'll try to give you a quick rundown on some of the best or most consistent ones that you should be using to get a head start in Set 9. Very quickly, in case you don't know how legends work, essentially you pick them before the game starts, and each of your augment choices at 2-1, 3-2, and 4-2 will include one option that is a preset option based on your choice of legend. The very first thing that you need to get yourself familiarized with is this Augment Tree. So it was made by a member of the community, Kana. I'm going to leave a link to the picture in the description below. Pretty much what this tells you is the percentage chance of getting each augment tier at each augment round. On 2-1, you have a 28% chance of getting silver, 62% chance of getting gold, and 10% chance of prismatic. And then given that you've hit a silver, it's going to give you the percentage chance at 3-2 for a silver, gold, and prismatic again. So this is really important because the way legends work is you're really going to focus on the 2-1 and 3-2 augment options, because these are the points in the game where you kind of like estimate or predict like what your spot's going to be at like consistently from game to game. And the reason why that is because like by 4-2, your last augment choice, a lot of like there's just like way too many variables and it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen by 4-2. So you're really going to focus on the gold and silver augments, especially on 2-1, because they account for 90% of the augments that you're going to see on 2-1. So 10% of games you're going to see a prismatic, but for the most part, especially given how you can reroll each individual choice as well as all of them, so for a total of 6 augment choices, the prismatic one is not going to be all that important. You're really going to be picking your legend for the gold and silver options on 2-1 and a little bit on 3-2 as well. So the very first option coming at number 5 is Poro. Frankly, this legend is going to be the most bland. It really is just means you're not picking a legend. So if you're used to playing TFT in the older sets, set 8, set 7, set 6, this is going to be the legend. You don't want to try something new, this is going to be the legend for you. A lot of the top players actually think this is the best legend just because a lot of the new augments coming in are really strong, and since you don't really know your spot at each individual augment choice, this kind of like offers you the most flexibility in that, like, because you can't predict exactly what's going on, and some of the times even though you choose an augment, or sorry, a legend that you think you really want, some of the choices aren't always good. So just taking up that 1 in 6 isn't really worth it, and this one's going to be the one for you if you don't really want to see a change. Coming at number 4, we have Ornn. So this legend is the one I use the most in PvE. I probably have over 100 games of this. The reason why I'm putting it at number 4 is because I think of the top 5, it is easily the hardest one to play. The strength of this augment really comes from the 2-1 gold, which is Tome of Traits. And Tome of Traits allows you to pretty much pick an emblem out of a choice of 4. There's some rules regarding it. I'm going to leave a link in the description below that will kind of like explain the rules for it. But essentially it allows you to pick an emblem of the traits based on like how your stage 1 goes, or based on whenever you pop it. And the reason why I put this as like one of the hardest augments, or sorry, hardest legends in the game, is because even as like someone who's played hundreds of games, I can't tell you I know all the best comps, or like I can't tell you how to play all the best comps perfectly. The way Tome works is it's really going to encourage that you play a lot of different comps depending on the emblem you get, because obviously a lot of different comps are a lot stronger if they have that emblem, kind of like giving them a +1 to the trait they want. Another reason why this augment is going to be really good is this 3-2 choice is really valuable. So each of these ones kind of like offer a lot of utility. Both all gold, silver, and prismatic are going to be useful. So we notice all of them give gold. This is going to be really important because as of Set 9, they've actually increased the EXP required to reach the higher levels of the game. 6, 7, 8, 9 all require more gold. The gold that these augments give you are just going to really help smooth out your curve, as well as the Reforger, the Remover, and the Duplicator obviously all provide like some utility that's going to be really important depending on your state of the game, as well as like all of these are super generic, so it doesn't matter what your 3-2 spot is. If it really comes down to it and you have to pick this augment, you're never really going to be upset about it. Even though the component is random, 1, 2, or 3 based on the tier, given that it gives the Remover, Reforger, and Duplicator, the extra utility is going to be really worth it. The big one actually is the gold, because having the Reforger really makes this choice a lot more consistent, because you can use the Reforger to reforge an item that you've slammed that you don't think is going to be as powerful moving forward. You can use it on a component to maybe hit that item you really need, or you can use it in the late game, you know, just to kind of like try to high roll an item that you perhaps need that you don't have yet. And then coming at number 3, I'm going to put Vlad. And Vlad to me really is probably the easiest and most linear one. So this is going to be the one that you take if you don't really want to think, right? So the way Vlad works is you really want to choose the augment offered by Vlad at each augment stage every single time. And the reason for that is because they have a lot of synergy with one another and they're also really strong. So the thing with Vlad is that it actually got nerfed in the final round of PvE patches before the set went live. The pro players aren't really sure exactly how strong this is right now, but this was easily probably the strongest one throughout all of PvE, and I find it difficult to believe that it's not going to be strong come set 9 as well, like come launch as well. And the way it works is the very first one on 2-1 that you get offered is Transfusion, and pretty much it just means that all your units are getting HP based on the amount of HP that your legend loses. What that means is it's really going to favor lose streaking, because obviously units are getting stronger as you lose HP or as you lose rounds, right? They synergize really well with one another, because on 3-2 you're going to get battle ready, which means all units deal more damage, just to generically, you know, damage up, very good stuff. And your unit's going to take less damage, you know, generically really good stuff. But the thing is, obviously this damage reduction is going to scale really well with the HP that you're getting from the 2-1 option. And then finally on 4-2 you're going to get one of the Ascensions, which just essentially means after 15 seconds your team is going to do a lot better. And what that means is that, like, you know, given how Transfusion and Battle Ready work, where they give you more HP and some damage reduction, your team's just going to be able to reach that 15-second mark intact and with, you know, with your main key units kind of alive at that 15-second mark, and your team's just going to be able to do a lot off that. Coming in at number 2, we have Twisted Fate. This is probably the single most used legend, at least in PvE, and the main reason for that is going to be this 2-1 choice Pandora's items. Frankly speaking, all 3 of them are the same, but relative to the other augments in their tier, when you compare it to across like the whole kind of catalog of augments given at those tiers, the best one's probably just going to be the gold one. And the reason why this one's really strong is because it really favors people who kind of like really want to hard force a comp, right? Because say I'm playing a reroll comp, I'm looking to 3-star one of my, you know, units or carries, and one of the worst things you can run into is when your carry doesn't have the items that it needs to, well, you know, carry. And pretty much what this does is, what these augments do is it allows you to more consistently reach those items. It also allows you to more consistently remove all like the really low roll possibilities where you don't get any of the items you want. You get to consistently just reroll your items and you'll always get what you want. The 3-2 choice, frankly, is not that powerful. It's just a little bit too random. Obviously you can leave them on your bench and reroll them, but the thing is, the later the game goes on, the less you'll want to have items on your bench being rerolled, because you know, you don't want to be losing too much HP. You do want to have your items on your units, you know, providing you power throughout your fights. And finally, the 4-2 one is really good. So the best one is probably going to be the silver, at least relatively. So if you compare the silver and the gold, it's just a 3 gold difference. But obviously, especially at 4-2, this 3 gold difference is going to represent like a much bigger difference in like other augment choices, right? Because 3 gold at 4-2 is just not going to be that powerful. So you really want to hit the silver. It's just going to be a lot stronger relative to the other silvers offered at this, whereas the gold's probably going to be a little bit weaker. The prismatic is also quite good because you get 2 Zeeks, so especially if you have already built your own Zeeks, because, you know, you have Pandora's and you're kind of juicing up your carry, this is going to be really strong because it really offers kind of like that 4th item, 5th item, 6th item for your carry that oftentimes you're going to already have best in slot 4, maybe you're re-rolling as well, and then you're going to have like a 3-star unit with 3 items with 3 Zeeks. You really can't go wrong. And then especially in set 9, there's not going to be that many things kind of punishing clump, so having all your units put together, you're not really going to get AoE down by like some big explosion that's going to one-shot your entire team. So just in general, this is really considered a really consistent augment and a really powerful augment, especially if it fits your playstyle. And finally, coming at number 1 is going to be Ornn. This is going to be the legend that I use in set 9 start because I just find it to be the most consistent. If you've played TFT in the past like 2 to 3 sets, you'll know that this gold portable forge, it has consistently been one of the top 3 to 5 augments offered at 2-1 every single set. So if you've watched any streams, you'll know that like if they're offered 2-1 forge, almost certainly the streamer will take it because this really is just that consistent. Pretty much in all 3 of these, you're not really looking at the prismatic so much because frankly, they're just a little bit too weak. So just ignore them when they come, re-roll them, pick a different option. That's okay. The silver 2-1 is okay, but you're really gonna have to give it some thought before you take it. because the silver 2 one is pretty much contingent on you not having any upgrades. So you're not really going to want this if you're looking to win streak, because the power it gives you only happens after 7 rounds. And if you're looking to win streak, if you have an upgraded board, if you have good items to slam already, you're not really going to want something that gives you power in 7 rounds. You're going to want something that gives you power right now. So in those cases, you're really going to want to like pick something else, you know, one of the other augments that you're given. But otherwise, if you're lose streaking, if you don't think you're going to be able to field a strong board, this is pretty good to kind of like bank up your power and spike it later, because pretty much after 7 combat rounds, this becomes the gold augment. I do think this is a little bit weak, but there are cases where this is powerful. And then similarly with Earth, another place where Ornn really shines is 3-2. If you noticed, the silver and the gold are going to be really similar to Ornn in that they give a chunk of gold and some items. So the thing is with anvils is that it gives a lot more agency to the player. The component anvil gives you a choice of 4 components, which allows you to, really complete some of your items. Maybe you're missing an item on your carry or your tank. It kind of gives you the flexibility to choose between the two. Even better is like the gold augment, which allows you to pick a completed item. Oftentimes this completed item really will give you an item that you need. It might not be like the absolute best in slot, because obviously it is random, but like say you need a damage item, it's going to give you a couple damage items. It, say it gives you death cap, death blade. If you need a damage item on your AD carry, you're going to pick Deathblade, otherwise you're going to pick Death Cap. Maybe you need a tank item and you're going to pick the tank item. Just a really consistent augment overall, generically good in a tons of spots. Finally, on 4-2, you're really not going to want to look at any of these. Frankly, all 3 of them are on average not that good. Obviously there are going to be cases where you want these, but in general on 4-2 you're really trying to fill out your team comp, right? Because on 4-2 at that point in the game, you've kind of like, you already know where you're going, you already know like how your board's going to look like. You're really just trying to like find something that fills up power for your entire team, whereas like these kind of like one-off items, 2 item components, they're really just good for 1 unit, and you really want to find an augment that kind of gives more power to your entire team. Ideally, obviously, these are still generically okay. They're not going to be the worst. They're acceptable, but they're just not going to be the best. Finally, well, I just have the summary. Earth is probably the hardest one to play because it gives you tomes and emblems, and you're just going to have to know a lot of lines. Probably not worth picking at the start of set unless you're really comfortable, but it is really powerful in the hands of the right player. Vlad, this is the easiest one to play, super straightforward. You're really just going to pick each of the Vlad options every single time, and you're probably just going to be strong every single time. Twisted Fate, this is the best for mitigating item low roll, and it's the best for like reroll comps. It's the best for hard forcing a build because you'll almost always be able to get the items that you want or need, and just a really straightforward game plan. Ornn is probably the most consistent. You get access to the really desired 2-1 portable forge. There's a lot of new Ornn items in the game, so this one's going to be really cool. A lot of different Ornn items kind of like give specific power or give you direction as well, because if you pick a tank one, you're going to find yourself in a position where you might want to reroll a frontliner, or if you get like a good carry one such as like I don't know, Zanya's Hourglass, then you're going to want to play towards an AP carry, maybe such as Azir, such as Kaisa. And then otherwise, if you get like Sniper's Focus, then maybe you just want to play any backliner, any DPS backliner, because Sniper's Focus is just going to give you that generic damage boost. That's the tier list. So I'm going to try to make more of these videos. So if you want to tell me what you want to see, just leave it in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and follow my Twitch at guubums. Peace.